It seems to be with you two. It was working fine yesterday. It's Brooke.
I work on my phone, my iPad, my computer.
And it's always like 1 minute before the show. There you are.
Because we've got you, clearly. And good audio.
I can't see you, Claire.
You can't see me?
No, all I see is a big black screen.
Great.
She's fine. We'll be good.
Okay, you're just gonna have to listen to me. You can't see my facial expressions.
Pretend like you can see.
But this will be really funny because now Hunter and I can make fun of you without you knowing.
Okay. Hold still.
Okay, here we go.
And we're going. And, oh, running intro.
Welcome to the Daily Race with Brooke Roberts and Claire. Hi, Brooke.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm great. I missed you so much, though. I really liked you being here physically. I had way too much fun with you.
I had so much fun. It feels weird not to be there with you. It feels weird to be on my own.
I know.
There's some artwork behind me. I'm in sunny Santa Barbara. If you want to come visit.
I'm there. Just tell me when. I'm there. But I have to bring all my kids and the hubby in. We're a big package.
You guys are a good package. I'll take it. You guys can come on down. I'll do baby duty and you and Cole can go out and have a good night.
Well, you don't have to tell me twice. I'll be booking my ticket right now on the show. A lot went on, Brooke, while you were here, actually. We got to go to a really cool event. It was actually called the High Five Foundation. It was a gala, and they went and they raised money. And these people were so inspirational. It was about athletes who got in accidents and then they became either paraplegic or just couldn't use their legs anymore, and they regained their physical capability to walk again. And I don't know about you, Brooke, but I have been thinking so much about these people and how inspiring they are. And one of the things the guy said while he was speaking, he said, there is not a price you could put on stoked. Like, where is your stoke? And they were saying about, they do all this mountain climbing and biking and kayaking. And I left there feeling so guilty about myself. Did you kind of feel the same way?
I feel like I have barely scratched the surface of what my body and literally like your brain is capable of. And it's just, I've always been in awe of people that push their body to the limits. And we are blessed enough to have our bodies fully functioning. So it's like there's no excuse. And so you watch these athletes, like you just said, they have no legs or no arms or whatever it may be, and they're doing things. They're going in the middle of nowhere and like skiing and doing this or that, and to the Antarctic, and it's so inspirational. I agree. I left Reno with feeling inspired.
Most definitely. I was talking to my husband about it, and I just said, I just feel so lazy, and every day I am trying to find my, what's my little piece of happiness that day? What made me stoked for that day? And I told him, listening to all these people, they go across the world and they're, telling you to climb mountains. And I said, I got to do that on Amazing Race, and that was great, and it was fun. But now where I am now, I don't have to go anywhere because I can just look at my children or my family, and that's my stoked right now. And it was kind of like I had to think about it a lot and be like, well, I am stoked. I am stoked within myself, and what I don't feel like you have to go and climb those mountains. I just feel like you should try to do something that makes you uncomfortable every single day. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, and just kind of put yourself out there. I don't know, it was a learning experience, and I had to talk to you about it.
That's a version of being stoked or a high, and everyone's version of their, supreme happiness, if you will, is different for each person. And you're gonna think I'm crazy, Claire, but my latest thing is, and you have to hold me accountable because I did walk away and I did a couple goals, is I've always wanted to do something Dancing with the Stars. And so I decided that they have this local like pro-am competition for dancers, where if you're an amateur, you can like go to nationals with an instructor. So I'm gonna start taking like samba and ballroom class. I know nothing about that form of dance, and I'm literally gonna go for broke, be in a sequin dance or sequin dress, excuse me, and mark my words, you will see me at the national championships.
I don't doubt that at all, but you need to have a head cam on at all times while you're doing this, because I have to see this firsthand. Because I've seen you dance, girl, and all I have to say is you got some moves on you. So make sure you're filming it.
Like dirt moves are different than like the papadole. I mean, these moves are legit.
Well, just put yourself out there, girl. That's what I love about you. But on the Liam saying, dance now, dance now. Can twerk it, girl, twerk it. Well, I think you have a lot to work on. I'm just kidding.
It's really hard to dance in here.
Lots of arm movements. Okay, so this is the deal. I was betting on the Cowboys to win, totally changing off topic, but we need to get to Amazing Race because so many people have been emailing me and Facebooking and posting pictures of the Cowboys on my Facebook page. I cannot believe they were eliminated. I put money on that they were going to win this season.
Claire, you speak for the entire country that we're devastated. I actually, for Fox Sports, had to go cover a rodeo, and it was so cool because I'm just like you. I really thought they would for sure make it in the final three if not win the whole thing. It was so cool to see the entire rodeo family and community 100% support them. There are guys, and they're just the definition of putting their lives on the line every time they go out and do whatever they do in the rodeo. And I'm sad, Claire. I'm sad.
Well, they're just good old boys, really down to earth. I've been in contact with Cord, and he is just so genuine, and they are going to be on our show. They're actually out of town tonight, so we're hoping by next month we're going to be able to catch up with them. But it just really upset me. I really thought that they were going to win, but it was the Afghanimals that sabotaged them and gave them a U-turn. Now, Brooke, we got U-turn. It's the worst possible scenario on the Amazing Race.
But remember, it's also the biggest compliment. And at the same time, I feel like you can never be mad or hold someone accountable. It's a tool that you can use towards the end of the game to really get ahead. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm so sad that it had to happen that way. It had to go down. And we never U-turned anyone. We were actually U-turned. But I was never that upset about it. It's part of the game. It's like being upset when someone like makes a basket. That's what you're supposed to do. And if you can finish first by U-turning someone, those are the rules of the game.
Right.
I'm coming from a perspective of I was U-turned, you were U-turned, and yeah, it sucks. But those are the rules. I didn't make them, and you just have to put your big girl pants on, or in their case, cowboy pants on, and rally.
To be honest, when we were on and we got U-turned, I was not expecting it because I had no idea people thought that we were a threat. I thought we were underneath the radar the whole entire time. So it was a big compliment when Thomas U-turned us, but we conquered and thrived on regardless of the U-turn in all of Amazing Race history. So girl power right there.
Nothing like you at all.
That's right. Everybody's saying that they're really bummed that the Cowboys are off, and some people wanted them off. So, but now that they're off, who are you placing your bets on?
Afghanimals.
I know, me too. Even though we had them on our first show, they said it was the Cowboys that you needed to watch out for. So they really threw me for a loop. I really thought I could tell if the Afghanimals won or not. So maybe I was wrong. Maybe they pulled one over on me. But I definitely think the Afghanimals too. So who's left? Rachel and Brandon are left. The girls, which is funny because the Cowboys actually gave them their express pass. So the girls are still in the top 4, the country singers. And of course, the son and the father team. So, yeah. I wonder if the girls feel guilty that they're still in and the Cowboys are out.
It's a really sweet story. I mean, do you hear you? It's like the country singers versus the Cowboys. I mean, of course they're going to rally together. And, it just is again for sure. But there's something about the animals that's just so fun. And you and I both, we just enjoy people that can compete but enjoy the ride.
Oh yeah, they've been laughing their whole way through. But people are saying that they're not being genuine because they didn't like the way that they were portrayed in their first episode that they were on. They kind of came off like a-holes. So they try to change their image, which I think they've done a really good job. They're more fun. They're a lot nicer to the other teams, and maybe that energy is going to put them in first place. You never know.
I mean, do we always judge someone by one show or one situation? You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone has a bad day, everyone has a good day. I don't think one bad day should define someone for the rest of their life.
Good point. Very good point. Way to stay positive, Brooke.
I'm just saying. I mean, it's just everyone loves to hate when someone has a bad moment, and you know, I just love to see anyone put themselves out there and have to be under the most, you know, the biggest pressure cooker you can. And everyone's gonna have bad moments. No one can look in the mirror and say that you're perfect every day. And if you recover graciously and you try to make the best of yourself, and that's definitely what they've done. You know, I love underdogs. I love people that change and try to grow, and I think that's what they're doing.
Most definitely. So, Afghanimals, both of us are saying the Afghanimals. What do you guys think? No, see, people are saying they're horrible. They're not nice. They need to bring the Cowboys back. And they want to know, are we going to be on the show again? And we never know. I mean, you guys need to look at how Brooke and I would run the race. We actually did a promo of how we would run the race now because of how we've changed. And it would be pretty much carrying my two babies with us. Brooke had a baby on and I had one in the backpack, and it was quite entertaining. So you guys have to log on to our promo at the Daily Race. So I want to tell you guys about this show and get your guys' questions ready, because I have an incognito teenager with me, and I actually got to sit down and talk to him over dinner, and he was telling me all sorts of interesting things. Brooke, I am so out of the loop with this generation, and about social media, about the parties that they're throwing, the way that they communicate. I'm baffled. Some of the things he was telling me. Farmhouse parties, the witch's hut parties. It's called a farmhouse party. So he's going to fill us in on what these things are all about. So yeah, farmhouse party, a witch's hut. Everybody's saying this is a great debate. So any questions that you have, maybe you guys have teenagers at home that you don't know how to bring up the topic, or you just want to hear from our incognito teenager, he is here to give it to you real, let you guys know what to watch out for, maybe how you need to talk to your teenager. I don't know. He's sitting next to me going, oh my gosh, what have you gotten me into? But he had no choice. So I'm throwing him under the bus. Yeah, so everybody's in on this. So any questions that you guys might have, this is your chance. Go ahead, ask one of their own kind, their own species of the teenager. Are you nervous, Brooke?
Yeah, I'm really nervous because you just were speaking in a different language. You're talking farm animals. I don't even know what you're talking about. So I'm dying to get a definition on all these terms.
All right. So, Stuart, you want to go to a quick break, and then we'll come back with our Mr. Incognito teenager. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back.
Hello.
This is Incognito Teenager, and that's what we're going to call him. We're just going to call him Incognito Teenager because I find it hilarious.
Whatever.
Okay,
Floats your boat.
Mr. Incognito, you need to fill us all in because we are so out of the loop on what's going on with your generation. He's not shy at all either. So let's just go. He is a teenager. He's in high school. One of the biggest things that you brought up to me is the way that you guys communicate nowadays via social media, texting.
Right.
How do you think this has affected the way you guys communicate face to face, or has it?
The way that lots of people think that it's affected us is kind of in a negative way, that we have less, face-to-face interactions type of thing. People text so much that they have less time to socialize and make bonds with people. But the way I see it, it actually improved our social experiences. We get to have more opportunities to talk to each other whenever we want to. We have things like Snapchat, Facebook. We can communicate. We know what's going on in each other's lives at all times. It actually helps eliminate a lot of small talk and conversations that helps kind of break down some social walls in the first place type of thing.
Whoa, I'm gonna stop you there. Isn't small chat?
Snapchat.
No, but he said something
Oh.
about chat at the end there. Like,
Right.
actually, do you think though that the nuances of interaction and kind of laying around and talking and anticipating communicating with someone, we have full access to someone all the time. Does that define better communication? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, isn't it so nice to be able to sit back for a second and disconnect, so you kind of ruminate on conversations you had, think about it, and then come back? Where I think now it's such instant, like, you're mad, you're upset, you're just this instant, always communicating. Sometimes it's good to kind of sit back and have a moment to yourself, and then meet up with someone. You know what I'm talking about? I don't think always being attached to the hip and constantly communicating is necessarily a good form of communication.
Well, I'm not saying it's better than any other form of communication. It's definitely an alternative. And I see it personally as a method that I prefer. I've been texting someone that goes to a different school than mine. I've been texting her for like 4 months straight. We've been keeping a conversation going for 4 months. I mean, we talk, and it's not awkward when we talk in real life either. I mean, it's a way of connecting with people that in the past you didn't have. And I'm not saying it's always better, because I see where you're coming from, but it is another method.
But what about, you were telling me too that rather than going up to somebody, like, let's say at a dance or something, and asking them to dance, you said that some of the guys just text the girls, will you come dance with me?
That's not okay.
No, but it's happened. He told me that, like, everybody's so into texting now that they actually go and while they're at a dance and be like, will you dance with me? And then the girls say no. And so he just copies and pastes it onto the next one. I just think that this is just unbelievable that they've lost the concept that they could actually just go up to the girl and say, dance with me.
There is definitely a time and a place for real human social interaction. Being able to talk to someone verbally is still something that everybody needs to know. Pam says, write a letter. I write letters. I mean, I've written thank you letters to people. But in this day and age now, we don't need to write letters to communicate with people. We have the tools necessary to talk to people quicker, faster, and easier. Writing a letter, while I respect the art form in of itself, it's unnecessary. We don't need that.
Well, actually, this is a good question that King just wrote in. Do you feel like teens are getting dumb?
Well...
Be completely honest. That's why you're here.
Do I feel like teens are getting dumb? I feel like certain parts of them are getting dumber. I think that in certain parts of the way that they grow, they aren't being developed fully in the way that they should. True. But I do think that they make up for that in other aspects. Like, most people my age are really knowledgeable on current events, technology, things like that. They focus a lot on what's happening at current. Like I reiterate often, it's not necessarily the best thing to do. People my age, I have a friend who didn't learn to tie his shoes until he was in 7th grade. Like, there's some things just kind of get dropped. But like Greg says, that technology is making kids smarter. I completely agree. We have tools like Wikipedia, Google. I mean, I've learned more thanks to things like the internet, online encyclopedias, than I think I've learned over the past 9 or 10 years of school.
And I can vouch for that. I mean, he is Google. He knows so many facts. It's just interesting. Your guys' generation, you could just go on Google and find out so much. I mean, you're on the internet all the time, learning something new. 17 hours of the day?
And it's becoming ingrained in our education system too. Like, I have my biology class that I go to, and my teacher will someone will ask the teacher a question, and instead of the teacher making up an answer like I feel like they would have in the past, the teacher just kind of making a guess that isn't possibly correct. I think that, like, my biology teacher now will say, I don't know the answer to that, why don't you Google it real quick? And some kid will pull out his phone, he'll Google the answer to that question, and then the whole class, including the teacher, becomes smarter because of that.
Now, everybody is questioning how old is my incognito teenager. He's 15 years old, but I don't think that you're the typical 15-year-old. You're very mature and very well-spoken for your age. That's why I wanted you on this show. And he's completely honest and blunt.
No way.
But I want to go into, now that we kind of covered technology, some of the things that you were talking about, going to these certain parties. They're called farmhouse parties.
Farmhouse parties, right. These are not parties that you have in farmhouses. These are in the farmhouse stands for pharmaceutical. A farmhouse party is basically where tons of teenagers will go, they grab pills from their parents' cabinets or wherever they get them from, they dump them into a huge container, they mix it all up, and then these kids will grab like cups, scoop up these pills, and then they'll take a few pills. And that's a farmhouse party. The idea is that these kids are kind of taking this risk of, ooh, who knows, am I going to die or am I just going to have a horrible experience? I wonder.
I wonder.
What? There's usually no good way for it to turn out, but adrenaline junkies appreciate that. And James, no, I personally am not a farmhouser. I've stayed clean forever, and I'm going to try to stay that way for a little while. And there's other parties that we have too. We have witch huts, which I haven't heard of happening in the past year or so. But it's basically where people will go, almost the exact same thing as a farmhouse party. They'll take whatever liquids they'll have, dump them into a huge vat too, and grab a cup, and they'll drink, and then they get incredibly drunk, and they have fun from that somehow.
But that's what I didn't understand when he was telling me about this. They take whatever they have in their parents' liquor cabinets or in the household, and they all dump it into a bucket. I don't understand why they just aren't drinking the bottle of whiskey or the bottle of vodka that they have. Why do they want to combine
the
it together?
idea is that they're experimenting and they're creating new ways for people to do stupid things. Duke, this is not a media fabrication. This is things that have actually happened. I know people personally that go to farmhouse parties weekly. It's a real thing. And I'm not saying that you should go and interrogate your teenage son or daughter about a farmhouse party. What I am saying is that you should probably bring up to them why putting a ton of pills in a vat is not a smart idea.
I love him. The thing too, though, that I find interesting is these farmhouse parties. They're not coming from the drug dealer on the street corner or the weed dealer in the high school. It's coming from their parents' medicine cabinets, and that their parents don't notice that these prescription pills are missing.
Yeah.
It's so baffling to me that they're
Yeah.
actually doing their kid's drug dealer.
The easiest way to prevent your house becoming a hub for a farmhouse party or your kid stealing your prescription drugs is just they have locks for prescription drugs now that you can just put a lock on the container with a key. And there's so many different ways, easy ways that are just easier than putting dangerous pills inside of your bathroom cabinet mirror. There's other methods to hide your pills so that kids don't kill themselves based off of something that could have been easily preventable.
Now, another thing, Tim wants to know, would you allow him to go? Hell no. Are you kidding?
I wouldn't allow me to go.
No. No. When he told me about this, my jaw just dropped, and I was scared for him obviously you see how intelligent he is, but I don't know. Everybody can succumb to peer pressure. These kids don't know what they're actually getting into. They're looking for a quick high. They see their parents taking these drugs and they're curious. I mean, we all were, but you know, I drank a beer on the back of a pickup truck, you know, when I was 17. Now it's just kind of taken off to its own level. And not only that, my incognito teenager was telling me that
My name's Hunter. Hi.
Sorry. He was telling me about the black market in high school.
Oh yeah. So, well, like I said, I've kept myself clean, drug-free, alcohol-free, and I plan on that. That's my philosophy. That's what I'm trying to do. I do have Rachel, my friends, would not knock me for doing talking, I promise. I do have friends that are very ingrained into the whole drug and alcohol scene, and I actually have several friends that deal. They sell drugs, alcohol, e-cigarettes, which is a huge market right now in high schools. They're electronic cigarettes, which have little parts to put tobacco in, flavors the tobacco to make kids like enjoy it more. Normally you can only get those 18 plus. So people are dealing these, and it is an absolutely insane market right now. People are getting so much money just based upon selling things like this to people that are slowly getting addicted to these things like tobacco, Adderall. I have a friend, his name is, I'm not going to say his name, better not. His name is, he sells shrooms. He grows and sells shrooms. His dad he gets it from his parents. I mean, it's just the way that they grew up, and it's the plan of attack they've decided for their life.
Oh my gosh. So Bill, actually, I'm so glad that you typed in. He said, my son nearly died from one of these events. So it is true. It's not media produced. I know that there's so many stories out there, but parents need to know these are true events.
It happens. I'm not like propaganda, I promise.
He's not an actor. He's a real kid.
These things happen. I've personally seen people in the aftermath of some of these parties. I have a couple of friends who've had their lives completely ruined because of these things like this. I mean, it's a real issue. It's something that happens and shouldn't be happening.
Brooke, they're saying you looked shocked.
Yeah, it's horrible. And then Pam asks if I would ever go to one or if I tell my friends that it's wrong. I'm not like a total loser or something. Like, I get invited to things like this on a pretty consistent basis, monthly even, I'd say. And I've never gone, I never will. It's absolutely one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of in my life. And I do tell my friends that it is a wrong decision, and I actually have filtered my friends based upon if they would ever go to something like this. Not to say that I completely discredit my friends. I have friends that are, like I said, who do drugs and are into the whole drug scene, but I don't tolerate stupidity in my friend groups.
Good job, Hunter. I am so proud of you right now. Liam says he seems like a computer hacker, which is so funny because he is.
I'm not a computer hacker.
Oh my gosh, you used to stay up in your room all the time hacking things.
Hacking things? I just hack away. To hack, is that a verb?
I'm like, Hunter, what are you doing? Nothing.
Maybe I'm just sketchy.
Well, You said
Thanks,
it.
Dean. I like you.
Dean is saying he is one amazing kid, and I agree. That's why I wanted to bring him on here and share him with all of you out there. I'm hoping this could be a reoccurring segment because I want you to be able to ask a teenager anything. I know that with some of the teenagers that I know, Brooke, you know, they're hard to talk to, and you're not getting the full story. And sometimes when you just really sit down and have a great conversation with them, I am just baffled about some of the stories that they are telling me, and I wanted to make this available to the people out there as well, because I mean, he's just a plethora of information. Why not use and abuse him, right?
I'd love to be on again, Mason. Thanks.
So maybe we'll make this like a monthly show, like Ask a Teenager. Boop, 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 boop. Brooke's like, whatever. Do it. What a great teen. Everybody is in love with my incognito teenager. Hunter, thank you so much for coming. So I'm very proud right now. All right, so next.
I like you, Beth.
He's talking to all the people chatting in right now. So next week, actually, we have Brandon from Amazing Race, the bearded friends. Do you remember them, Brooke? Yeah, so he's going to be on next week, so don't miss out on Brandon, and he's going to give us all the skills on man grooming.
I agree with Olive.
No, have Hunter. Everybody wants Hunter back. Well, maybe he could come back and talk about man grooming as well. Is man grooming a yay or a nay?
It's manscaping.
Oh, see, I'm learning something new every day from this kid. Manscaping. So is it a yes or a no?
It's a yes if you can pull it off. If you're baby faced, then no. No.
What about a penciled in mustache?
That's never a yes. Hitler stashes, pencil stashes, those are the two no's in my book.
You heard it from the babe.
Soul
right
patches are not very okay either.
All right, so next week, this is what we're going to be talking about. Don't miss out. Have a good night.